Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first Dave's Real Life video. Now, these are a bunch of stories of events that have happened in my life, and this is stuff that I just possibly could not make up. So, in this first Dave's Real Life story, this happened when I was around 19 years old or so. And I had just moved back to the county that I had moved away at 15 because I was kicked out of the house at 15 years old. And that's a whole nother Dave's Real Life story. And that'll happen when I'm ready to do that down the road. But I had lived in Daytona Beach up until a little after, about midway through my 18th year of life. And I had gotten promoted. I worked for a grocery store, Winn-Dixie, and I had moved up through the ranks rather quickly, and I was running a meat department at 18 years old. I mean, that's pretty rare. So I had moved back to the county that I lived in most of my life, where my parents got jobs out at NASA and etc., and that's where we lived until I got kicked out. But like I said, that's a whole nother story. So here I am. I get promoted to a manager. I'm on salary, making great money, and I'm running my own meat department. Right? I've kept in touch with a couple of my D&D friends, but a couple of them I lost contact with. So I was running my store, and I was running the meat department. I was also in charge of the seafood department, and I had hired a woman that was working out at the Space Center, and we're just going to call her Krista for the video's sake. And she was a good worker. She always was coming to work. She worked on the weekends. She worked over at the Space Center at NASA during the week. And she just wanted to make extra part-time money. And I was like, sure, I need people that want to work on the weekends. So she had been probably with me about 3 months or so. And all of a sudden, one day, one of her friends was in there, and she was they were talking over by the lobster tank because we would sell lobsters. And I was, putting some meat into the case because we also had fresh cuts in the seafood, like half of the case is seafood, half of the case is meat, right? So you could get that, 1.5-inch thick T-bone steak that you wanted, a ribeye or whatever. So I was putting some fresh meat into the case, and I heard her friend say, okay, I'll bring the player's handbook, the dungeon master's guide, and the monster manual. And she's like, all right, cool. And I'll see you Friday night or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, these girls play D&D. I didn't even know that girls played D&D. I mean, it just never happened when I was in school. There was a girl that did want to play D&D, but she was too scared that the girls would kick her out of the group and stuff. So she never wanted to play, even though she wanted to. Her name was Diane. But anyway, I digress. So I heard her friend say, yeah, I'll bring the books and stuff. So after her friend left, I said, was your friend mentioning D&D books? And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. My friend, I'm like, oh, I don't care. You're a hard worker. Don't worry about it. And she said, yeah, we play D&D. And I was like, I played D&D for a long time. I said, I just haven't, just when I moved away and then I moved back, I've just lost touch. And the next day, or the next time she worked, she said, yeah, we have a group that we get together on Saturday nights and we play every week. And she said, you're more than welcome to, come over to the house and play D&D and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I said, I'll have to think about it because I was always told, when you went into management, you don't fraternize with your employees, you don't hang out with them, etc. Maybe for, Christmas parties and stuff like that. So I was kind of leery at first. So a couple of weeks went by and then I said, okay, you know what? I do want to play some D&D. I want to get back into it. It's harmless, So I told Chris, I'm like, sure, I'll play some D&D. So that that next week, I went over there and we started playing D&D. And I'd played for about 3 months with, this group of people. And there were 3 groups of couples, and I was like the oddball out with, no one to, I wasn't with, I was solo, I was single. I was 19 years old. I wasn't into girls at the time, and because I was just too into my job, and I was too into, computers and stuff like that. So about 3 months of playing with, Krista and her husband, Cam, we'll call him Cam for this video's sake. And, like I said, a couple other couples. So about 3 months later, Krista asked me for a ride home, and I was like, sure, no problem. I think it was a Saturday, and, she had worked all day, and I guess her husband was working on a car or something like that. And she said, yeah, can you give me a ride home? And I said, sure. So I took my lunch break, and I went ahead and I started taking her home. And when we got into the car, started up, and we started going, she goes, I have something that I want to talk to you about. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, what's going on with the game tonight? And she goes, oh yeah, we're all going to be there. And she puts her hand on my leg, and she says, Dave, I just want you to know that I really like you. And she's probably in her late 20s at this time. So she's probably a good 8 to 10 years older than I am. And she says, I really like you. Everybody that we play D&D with, everybody likes you. And she said, I have an open relationship with my husband, and I would like to start seeing you. And I was like, you're married. I didn't understand because, I'm 19 years old. I've never even had I had never even had a serious girlfriend at 19 years old. So she's like, yes, I want to see you, and I want to start seeing you, and my husband is okay with it. And here I'm like deer in the headlights, right? I'm just kind of, I don't know what to say. And she said, we can even be together, but she says there's one condition. She said, my husband wants to watch. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, if we ever get together, she says, my husband wants to watch. And I was flabbergasted. Now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, what a stupid kid. You know what I mean? 19 years old. I didn't even know what she was talking about. But I told her, I said, I can't do that. I said, my parents have been married for, 35 years. I said, I can't do anything like this. I said, and she says, well, everybody in our group has the couples have open relationships, and a couple other ladies like you as well. And I'm like, I said, unbelievable. I said, this is too much for me. I said, I cannot come to this game anymore. I said, I just want to play D&D. I didn't want to become, and now looking back at it, they were a swingers club, and they played D&D, and and then she says, well, I have my sister, she's really pretty, she's younger than me, she wants to meet you. And I'm going, what is going on here? I literally had to pull the car over, and I told her, I said, so you want to start seeing me? And I said, you're trying to introduce me to your sister that's younger than you? I said, what are you guys doing? Because I had no clue. And she basically said that everybody is open, their relationships, and they all switch partners all the time. And I was just like, I said, I'm not doing that. I said, that is the craziest stuff that I've ever heard. And I said, I think I'm just going to drop you off. And I said, I'm not going to be coming to the game tonight. I said, I don't think I'm going to be coming to the game. So that was like mind bending for me. I had no clue what was going on. So now, after I drop off Krista, air quotes. That's her, that's her video name. So I dropped off Krista, and now I'm worried as hell because I'm scared that my employee is going to go to my manager and say, "Oh yeah, he's flirting with us," and I got scared. And I thought about that. I'm like, man, I'm going to get fired. I've got such an awesome job. I'm making great money. But she never came into work again. And she was supposed to work on Sunday, and she never showed up. She never called or anything like that. And the next morning when my seafood manager came in, she goes, "Oh my gosh, nothing's set up. Krista was a no call, no show, and blah, blah, blah." I said, "No problem. I will help you get set up this morning." So, but she never came in. And in fact, she never even came back in to get her last paycheck. So we mailed it to her. But yeah, that's a crazy story. And I had no clue. I never saw that in 3 months. There was no, affection or groping or nothing like that. It was just D&D. But come after the D&D game, because I would always go right after the D&D game, because we were playing till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, "Hey, y'all, I got to get out of here. I got to be to work," because I worked on Sundays also. But after D&D, that's when the Swingers Club was in full effect. So, but yeah, crazy story. I never got into it. Y'all are probably saying, "Dude, you're so stupid." But hey, I was 19 years old. I had no clue about girls or anything like that. So because I was too into work. I was too into making money. I was too into computers. So, but I didn't start having girlfriends. So like I was in my early 20s. 21 years old is when I had my first serious girlfriend. And so yeah, make fun of me in the comments. I'm expecting it. So that's my first Dave's real life story. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'm gonna try to get one of these to you every month. So definitely join the comments down below. I want to hear what you have to say. So thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time.